We're very excited that Wednesday, the show will be doing our
Oh,
first live event, which makes me feel very fancy. Out of all places, the Kennedy Institute, which is, I'm sorry, the Kennedy Institute Fireside Chat, and I will be interviewing Vice President Pence on political discourse, conservatism, populism. You can stream it as usual on our YouTube channel here at Citizen McCain at our regular time at 12, same time. It'll just be an interesting venue. And the
I'll be
venue is
streaming it. I'm not going.
thanks.
I can't be
Miranda's
there.
not going. You should have. I was actually thinking maybe you should have gone, but the venue looks like Senate
There's not enough
chambers.
there. I couldn't get a ticket, quite
Okay,
frankly.
so this is our other maintenance issue. We apologize. The event is actually oversold. So, I understand the Kennedy Center is dealing with that. I apologize in advance, but not everybody who wanted to go can get in. On a personal level, including Miranda, on a personal level, I am thrilled. Anytime something sells out, let alone oversells, you feel
Yes,
good. I'm sure it's
that's
just
great.
because people want to
Very
see
lovely.
Vice President Pence. But
No, no,
we
it's for you. It's
apologize.
for you.
We
It's for you.
apologize in advance. Like I said, the Kennedy Institute will be handling all of that. And I don't know what it means other than they sold more tickets than are available. But like I said, it's this
Join me on the live
Wednesday.
stream because I will be there because I can't be there in person. So I'll be on the live stream
Yes.
with you
Miranda will be on the live stream and possibly
and
answering
Annabelle.
questions in the chat. Also, we would love to take questions from you, the two-way audience. If you'd like to submit questions for Vice President Pence, please email citizenmccain at two-way.tv. We are going to ask two-way audience questions. Please help us out. So like I said, if you want to ask Vice President Pence a question, email citizenmccain at two-way.tv, or you can put it in our chat. Ashley will be monitoring. And like I said, I will be asking him
And
two-way audience questions.
we'll put that email address up on our social media too, just so
Yes,
that
I'll put it on my
yeah.
Twitter. We'll put it on all the
We'll put it
Citizen
up.
McCain
Put it up
channels.
somewhere where you can see it visually. Yeah.
Yes, I totally get it. I'm not good at writing things down either. On a personal level, I spent my entire day at a water park for my daughter's birthday party. I sound sick. I've been sick, and then I'm just like exhausted. And I'm officially at that part in my pregnancy where I have to wear Ben's clothes because I tried to
Oh,
put my shirt on this morning and it didn't fit. Would have been inappropriate for all of you. So I'm wearing Ben's shirt
give
today.
us a
So
show, girl.
I
Give us a
literally was
show.
like, and it's not, the thing is, I have a bunch of sweaters. Like I have like maternity sweaters, but it's hot here, which
Oh,
I'm pissed off. I'm sure Ashley's pissed off. Like, I'm
I mean,
sorry,
it's
in
hot here
DC, it
too,
should
but
be
I expect it
cold.
to be. Yeah.
It's the end of September, bitch. Like, I want to wear sweaters. Like, anyway, so that's where I'm at in my life. And
I would
like I
never
said,
guess that that was Ben's shirt. It looks great on you. It's a good cut.
you
So,
can tell because it's the men's button. Like,
oh, it goes like that way, not this
yeah,
way. That dealy. Yeah, I get it.
yes.
Oh, you
S-
look good. I could never
Thank you.
tell.
I
That's
literally was
cute.
like, go to your closet and grab me a shirt.
Give me the biggest shirt you got.
Buy me a shirt. Yes, get me a shirt in your closet. Okay, Rachel is here. We're very excited. And then we have a bunch of political stuff to go through. Rachel, we're so
Oh my
excited
God, you're
to
glowing like
see
an
how
angel. Look at
pretty
her
you look.
Oh, I
lighting.
love
Oh my
it,
gosh.
Rachel.
I know. Are you
Hello.
in
I don't
heaven?
think it's
Like, why do you look like
it's
that?
also good to know because Megan, I'm sorry you're feeling sick. I have a sick toddler and a sick husband. So if you
Oh
hear
God.
anything in the background, I'm hoping she sleeps through this. But
It's like
um,
going around.
oh,
Miranda
it
was
is
sick for a while. Like
time.
it's just that
Yeah.
time of year. Rachel, we have a bunch of political stuff to get to, but we also have some like pop culture stuff we want to do with you too. That's like delves a little bit into politics. Everything's the same now, but you can follow Rachel on X at Rachael M Bade. And do you have anything else you want to plug just really quick before we get started?
Want to plug? Well, I announced about a week and a half ago that I was stepping away from Politico. So I am currently in the middle of sort of building that next chapter, and I hope to have more to share with you guys here pretty soon.
Yeah, we're excited to hear it. We didn't know what we were allowed to say, even though you put it on
It's
social
public.
media.
It's
And
the split is public now, but
yeah.
the next chapter not quite yet. So fingers
Great. I signed up for
crossed.
your newsletter. Everyone else should too. And
Mhm.
I really love Politico, but it's a huge loss for them. So we will obviously follow you wherever you go. Really quick, this came up over our transom last night. It wasn't even in my notes, but it came out this morning that Rahm Emanuel, who I think normies probably know him as Obama's campaign manager, the former mayor of Chicago. He's officially obviously running for president, and he gave some stump speeches in Iowa. And I want to show you and everybody else and then get your reaction. Number 13, please. if we haven't.
They thought they got
Maybe.
did everything right.
Yeah, there we go.
Raised their kids to know right from wrong, got them settled, squared, looking forward, got a good education. They're making money, and they're still in the basement. They're taking money out of the 401k because the paycheck doesn't get them to the 31st of the month. I grew up, my dad was a pediatrician. I'm a son of a pediatrician. I know you thought I was going to say something else, but I'm the son of a pediatrician. When my dad used to call somebody for a second opinion, it was another healthcare professional. It was not some insurance individual on the other side of the phone telling them what they could and couldn't do, what they can and can't prescribe, or tell you that's not covered. Their backs were against the wall. They're still against the wall. And we were, as a party, MIA. Now, one thing they know about Democrats is when they need chips down, their backs are against the wall. We show up ready to help and roll up our sleeves and get to work. So this should not come as a surprise to you. The American dream is unaffordable. It's inaccessible. And we as Democrats, that's unacceptable to us.
Okay. Two really quick things. I'm sure you have covered him extensively, Rachel, both, when he was just an advisor and then as a politician. I've met him many times. I really like him as a person. I think he's funny. I like that he swears. I like that he's missing a finger. I like that he seems like I do. I like that he's missing a finger. I don't know why.
I love that he was a former ballerina, which I'm a former ballerina.
I didn't know
too,
that.
So yes, exactly.
He always seems like a little more
He's
like a
real.
real
Yeah.
person. Yeah. But I'm not the approval he wants or needs. He needs the approval of Democrats. What do you make of him going to Iowa? Do you think he has a chance?
Good question.
He's sort of called out the extremism on the far left. Do you think he stays doing that? Like, what was your reaction to all of this?
Yeah, I think it's smart for him to try to sort of assert himself into the narrative around something that is really a challenge for Americans, and that is healthcare. I mean, talking about battling with insurance companies. I mean, I'm doing it right now. My daughter, she had, some developmental delays, a lot of physical therapy, speech therapy. I had to work overtime to try to get coverage for her on this kind of stuff. People deal with this stuff all the time. Healthcare is outrageously expensive. This is just an issue that is popular with Americans. So I think it's smart, number one. I don't know that it helps him gain ground from the issues that are problematic for him with the base. As you said, he needs Democratic voters to support him in a primary run. And he's got two problems. Number one, he's just too centrist, too moderate of a Democrat for where the party is headed right now. When when one of the first stories came out saying that he was looking at a run, I actually texted him. I was like, "Good luck, buddy." I don't know that the base really likes or wants your brand of politics right now, and I think that that's true. And so that's going to be a challenge for him. And the other challenge he has, just to be frank, is that he's a white male, and I think like that is something that the Democratic base, they obviously care about, identity politics. And I think that is going to be challenging for anybody who's a white male. But more so, I would say the first issue is a problem. And that is that the party is moving further left. And Rahm, he's more of a pragmatic minded Dem. So how is he going to fit in with that? I mean, he was on, I can't remember which late night comedy show he was on. He was on some sort of extensive interview where he talked about the transgender students in girls' bathrooms. And he threw some shade at that issue, saying we shouldn't be talking about this. Why are we talking about this?
I've had it podcast.
Yeah.
We played it here. Yeah.
Right. And he said, he was like, yeah, when I was in high school, I would have told you I was a girl to get in the girls' bathroom too. And this is the kind of stuff that I think a lot of Americans, it resonates with them, right? A lot of people are not comfortable with this sort of thing, but for the base, it's a different conversation, and that sort of doesn't play well with Dems.
Yeah, it's interesting because all this stuff, like I said, it's probably not good that I like him. It's probably hurts him that I think he seems normal. Someone who I don't like, which probably also helps him, is Gavin Newsom. And I wanted to show some tweets that he's put out. Everyone who's been paying attention, he's been really aggressive with his staff on Twitter, being very trying to like sort of imitate Trump and going after Republicans. And in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination, he hasn't stopped any of the rhetoric. And we want to put this up. He put this tweet up where, if people can see, it's Stephen Miller. He's calling Stephen Miller a fascist. There's obviously like a play on Cinderella, I guess. I mean, I don't really get the joke that much. Several Republican lawmakers criticized the post as domestic terrorism and violent rhetoric. Newsom's press office responded saying, quote, "Ding dongs in the White House. If you don't want us to call you a fascist, then stop doing fascist things." I know he's popular right now with this. I don't like it at all. I know that he's just imitating Trump, and I get it. They can maybe hypocritical. I don't like Trump's tweets either. Um, is this really the path to the White House? Like, insult comic mean tweets? Like, is that the way you get elected president? Which is clearly what he wants.
Well, maybe not the path to the White House, but it does certainly seem to be a potential path to winning a Democratic primary. I mean, if you think about where Newsom was just a year ago, a lot of Democrats sort of thought he was, this sort of chameleon who said one thing to one crowd, totally contradicted himself to another crowd, and was just sort of an opportunist looking to get by. But in recent months, with the whole redistricting fight, that has allowed him to sort of take the mantle, say he's the one standing up against Donald Trump, and sort of reshape his image with the base. And a lot of Democrats, they like this, right? They love that he trolls the White House. They love that he gets under the president's skin and the skins of his staff. And so, I mean, I think you say you don't like these tweets. I get it, right? I mean, like, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think there should have been more discussion amongst Democrats about using things like, a fascism or comparisons to Hitler. We just didn't see a lot of discussion about that. But look, I mean, clearly Democrats are not backing away from it. It's not just him. I feel like I see, the words fascism and, authoritarian dictator all over when it comes to Democratic tweets. And I think, like I said, you may not like it, but it does seem to be helping him with some Democratic voters.
Miranda, who lives in LA, I don't want to speak for you, but you like it for now, but you don't like it long term. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's a long-term strategy that's going to get people to vote for him in 28. I think that for now, it's like holding up the mirror of, this is absolutely insane and ridiculous, and you guys like it when the president does it, but you don't like it when I do it. And it's pointing out hypocrisy, and we've discussed this at length about, it's ultimately a joke. And I don't think that Gavin is serious, because then he goes on Colbert and does talk about policy and issues and platforms and stuff like that, and he's not up there just, talking crap about the president and the administration. He's actually out there talking about what he wants to do were he to get into office, and what he does in California, et cetera. So I don't, and it's not him doing it. It's his team of, really cool Gen Zers that get the meme culture. So if this is what's getting attention to the party that isn't the, Mamdanis and the AOCs and the socialists, because let's be so real, Gavin Newsom is not a crazy socialist commie, whatever you want to call it. He's more of a normie, liberal, progressive in the vein of Rahm Emanuel.
I would vote for AOC before Gavin Newsom.
I know you don't like
that's
Gavin
crazy.
Newsom.
I
know you
think
don't
he's
like
so
him.
dangerous and insane. Like, I just think like he has run California into the sewer. And even like, you have Spencer Pratt, who's a reality television star here all over Capitol Hill, petitioning.
Spencer's a one issue person, and that's the fire stuff.
But I think if your house burned down and you have no redemption,
I totally agree.
Governor doesn't care.
But there's the California is a humongous state with all kinds of different stuff. It's like
Rachel, you're the journalist.
Country.
Is America going to be more on Miranda's side or more on mine? Because California really scares me. Not that I have friends who live there and it's fine, but like, it should be a metropolis. I just saw the guy from $1 Million Listing doing a podcast talking about like all his clients are leaving, and there's like a tax thing where if you like buy a house over $1 million, you're like taxed to insanity, and all these people are leaving. He's talking about how it's impacting his business. Like, do you think that will come into play, or people just won't care? Like his like governor's record in California won't care.
Anytime you're running for president and you've been a governor, I mean, obviously your sort of record in that state is going to be the number one issue that voters talk about. So absolutely, it's going to come center. I think you bring up AOC. I haven't looked at polling at this recently, but I wouldn't be surprised if the primary was today. I would say she would probably beat out Gavin Newsom. I just think she's more aligned with where the Democratic base is right now, regardless of, his record in California.
Do you think there's all these rumors? Axios reported last week that she's going to run for president, or she's at least seriously considering it in 2028 and seriously considering running for Senate. I assume that's against Chuck Schumer. How realistic do you think that is? And then even just like I'm not trying to be like gross, but like there's some brass tacks issues that happen in running for president. She's technically, I mean, she's engaged, but like who would be her first gentleman? Like there's like things that the American public find cozy and comfortable when you're running for president that she will not be able to give them, married or not. Does that matter anymore to Democrats? Like centrist, there's just stuff in her personal life, not aside from not being married, but just like in general. If you go to like Bow, New Hampshire, or like, Des Moines, Iowa, like there's just some things that like I don't make the rules. I can just tell you what they are. Like they just won't be comfortable with her. And I feel like Democrats are ignoring that part of her as well. And the fact that she's 35.
And by the way, you mentioned this sort of, it shouldn't matter, right? If she's a single woman, it shouldn't matter. But,
No.
The question is,
I don't like single men either.
Does it, right? And you bring up a point. I mean, Kamala Harris just got a ton of blowback for simply voicing why she didn't pick Pete Buttigieg, saying in her book that he was basically her top pick, but she thought realistically having a Black woman atop the ticket and then a gay man, as her running mate just wouldn't, resonate with the American people. She got a ton of pushback on that from Democrats. But look, she's being honest about it in the same way sort of you are there. Look, with AOC, she would be silly not to, throw her hat into the ring for 2028. There is this power vacuum in the Democratic Party right now. There is no clear heir apparent. And she has as big a following, much larger following than pretty much any of these people. I mean, name identification. She's a crazy good fundraiser. And she's got this close relationship and close on policy too with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is going to be too old to run, obviously. And there is this huge wave of supporters. Where are they going to go? Obviously, they're going to go to AOC. So it does feel like a moment for her to seize the mantle to do something like this. This notion of running against Schumer someday, could see it. I kind of think that is more of an attempt to sort of, shake the trees a little bit and get him to move further left. I know a lot of Democrats after Schumer during the sort of first shutdown standoff earlier this spring, they actually were talking about how AOC should run against him to try to, scare him into a different position. I don't know if that's going to work, but the point is, like, I think she would be way more likely to run for president because of her national following than she is to run in New York for Senate.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think like Chuck Schumer is like, he's just over a barrel right now with her, and he's going to have to move, I agree, very left. Or, I mean, if she won't run against him, somebody else will. Like, I sadly think like I used to really respect him. I don't like him as much anymore. But speaking of New York, this was also breaking news yesterday. Mayor Eric Adams said he was dropping out. He suspended his campaign for mayor because he can't win. There's a whole long list of the reasons he gave, but it's because he can't win. Mom Donnie, who is obviously a longtime critic. This is so funny. He's a longtime critic of Airbnb and a vocal advocate for the abolition of private property. That's insane. Is also facing scrutiny after it was revealed that his wealthy parents have been renting their upscale Uganda estate on Airbnb for nearly a decade. And I just love every little anecdote about why he's a rich Nepo baby. I say that as a Nepo baby myself. But he needs to chill out when I say that. I'm allowed to call other people Nepo babies. I know better than anyone what that is. But I want to show you really quick. Frank Luntz, who I love, the famed pollster, came out yesterday talking about Democrats' overall polling. Number 3, please.
The Democratic Party, 31% is favorable, 54% unfavorable. I mean, Frank, when you look at these numbers and then they tell you, by the way, these are the worst showing numbers ever for the Democrats, that's a bold statement.
There are 3 questions that the public is asking. Number 1, where do you stand? Number 2, what would you do? And number 3, why should we trust you? None of that is coming from congressional Democrats. You have a couple of governors that do communicate effectively. Wes Moore out of Maryland and Jared Polis out of Colorado are examples. But for the most part, Washington Democrats have Washington solutions to Washington problems. Let me give you a warning for people who are watching right now. If the government does shut down, the Democrats are going to get blamed. Chuck Schumer is going to be held responsible. And I even hear that there are Democratic senators that may upend him. I'd say to the Democrats, you need a new message, a new messenger, and a new approach, because the old stuff isn't working.
So, Rachel, my question for you is the new approach that Franklin's talking about, Mom Donnie advocating for the abolition of private property. Like, is that really the direction? I say that like somewhat facetiously, but is that really the direction that the Democrat Party will be going in? And these numbers should scare people.
Look, this is why, like, I laugh because, reporters are always asking, people are always asking Democratic leaders, why have you not endorsed him? And I'm like, guys, this isn't rocket science here. I mean, this is a guy who's a self-declared democratic socialist. You just mentioned support for abolishing private property, et cetera. They cannot be tied to this. There's a reason they're not endorsing this guy, because if they do, they're throwing all their frontliners in these purple districts under the bus completely. I mean, to me, it doesn't make political sense. And in fact, I guess I'm surprised we don't see Democrats taking, at least Democrats who are in these tough districts, taking the opposite approach and saying, look, I'm not going to endorse this guy because he doesn't stand for what I believe. This is actually a moment, an opportunity for them to really push back on him and define themselves more and help themselves win re-election. And yet again, a lot of them are not doing this. I'm thinking Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. Here, I'm in Virginia running for governor. This is a moderate centrist Democrat who has a track record for pushing back against the left. She was very vocal against defund the police. She's not been shy about pushing back on Democratic leaders, but even she, when asked about him, the response has been, oh, I'm not following New York. I'm focused on Virginia.
Oh, please.
Is that the best you got? And it just it tells me kind of like the pressure they are under from, the base when it comes to sort of endorsing some of these ideas, that they're not even pushing back the way I think they would have even just a few years ago.
Do you think Spanberger will win? She also gives like a really bizarre answer to if she believes that trans people should have be in bathrooms.
Another one. Yeah.
This horrible, and everyone, I don't know, it's not even worth playing. It's a total word salad non-answer, and she can't answer it. Do you think that she has any chance of losing, or is that just a pipe dream?
I think she will win. If I was a betting person, I would say that she is probably going to win, just because, the makeup of Virginia, the fact that Trump is in office. Obviously, we've had a lot of government contractors and government workers cut. That is a big issue here in Northern Virginia, where you have a lot of federal workers who are here. And then I think one of the top issues in Virginia is still, the economic concern people feel. And even after electing Trump, President Trump, a lot of them still feel like that is, it's not getting better as much as they had wanted. So I believe she's going to win. Of course, I don't know for sure. And one thing you just mentioned, the transgender conversation, the Republican here has made this a central issue over and over in campaign ads, hitting Abigail Spanberger on this matter. And again, this is one of those issues where I would have thought you would see more Democrats saying, look, I'm not for allowing transgender students in girls bathrooms. I guess I sort of expected more Democrats to take that line in these sort of swingy areas where they could potentially lose. But she's not doing that. She's definitely avoiding the issue. And, it's all going to come to a head too, because in Fairfax County in particular, some of those Northern Virginia areas, they are sort of at a standoff with the federal government over education funding. The federal government, Trump administration said, we're not going to give you money for schools if you don't change your policies on this issue. And I believe, last I had checked, there's still a standoff there. So I had been telling people for a while that this is sort of like this explosive issue that is on the back burner right now in Washington's sort of backyard. But even if Spanberger wins, how she handles this and how much it hurts her, or whether it hurts her, is going to be something that Republicans are watching to see if they can sort of take that, playbook and use it again in the midterms against Democrats.
How are you feeling about the New Jersey race? And for people who maybe aren't as wonky as the three of us, midterm races can be tea leaves to read in general elections, which is why people care so much. I know that the woman running, Cheryl, has a Yeah, it has a controversy, which I'm sure you've seen, that hit a little close to my world, that it came out that she was involved in this like very notorious cheating scandal at the Naval Academy in 1994, where she wasn't allowed to walk at her graduation. And I only know this because my dad and my brother and my grandfather, my great grandfather all went to the Naval Academy. Breaking the honor code is like a huge deal, and it's like for your whole career it'll put like a mark on your record. It's not something that's respected, particularly cheating. I think like in life maybe we're a little more like lax about stuff. It's like a very big deal to not walk at graduation at the Naval Academy over a cheating scandal. I don't know if that matters to voters, but I was actually shocked that she didn't think that would come out or that people wouldn't care. That being said, do you still think that she has the possibility? She also gave this really weird answer on the Breakfast Club about how she made $7 million in like trading. Like again, I don't understand the stock market at all. On the Breakfast Club, and Charlemagne pressed her, and she was like, "I'll have to check." And I was like, "You don't know how you made 7 million? Like $7 million, like so much money. Like, are you out of your mind?"
Can
Anyway,
I
do you
make
think
that?
that?
Can she advise me?
And just like, I'm like, what is the
Yeah.
worst
Give us a
answer?
tip. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no
know.
kidding. That would be great. I'll just pay for my mortgage or, and everybody's houses in my family. No, so I haven't covered the race nearly as closely as you have. For instance, I didn't even know about this controversy you were talking about. But what I will say is that obviously her background as I can't remember was she a naval
Was
commander?
a
I can't remember, but
pilot or something? Yeah.
okay, pilot. Okay, so that has been like a central piece of, her campaign for Congress, her tenure in the House of Representatives, and obviously now in her race. So, if this in any way casts, a negative light on that, like that obviously is problematic for her. But what I will say, without having, followed the New Jersey races closely, if you can't win with people like Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger, who, by the way, was a CIA analyst, also has that sort of badass woman
Mhm.
sort of brand that has really helped them in politics, both moderate centrist Democrats, if you can't win with them in these sorts of areas, then the party's going to have a really hard time in the midterm. So these two races were supposed to sort of be shoo-ins. And the fact that, they're tightening is obviously a warning sign for Democrats.
The key to making sure the Democrat always loses a predominantly red swing state is just run Carrie Lake. Just run her. You will always lose, and the Democrat will always win. Arizona should be red and should have red senators and should have red governor. It doesn't happen because she keeps freaking running for office and
Did you
losing.
see that video going viral of the panel that Carrie Lake is on? And the guy's like, "This is the worst time I've ever had in my entire life."
No.
Oh, is
Oh
it
my God, I
Tim
gotta.
Miller? Tim Miller?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I gotta send it to you.
Send it to me, please.
It's hysterical.
Rachel, we haven't talked about Charlie Kirk's assassination yet, and I would be remiss if I didn't speak to you about it. There people are very worried about domestic terrorism and violence in general. Yesterday, there was an ex-Marine, this is horrible, smashed his pickup truck into a Michigan church, opened fire, and set the building ablaze during a crowded Sunday service. The suspect was shot by police, but 4 people were killed and 8 were wounded. And the authorities have been, I'm so sorry, have been searching through the ruins for more victims. Um, you know, I, I feel like there's so much political violence all the time, and it's very overwhelming for anybody who's just like a decent human being. It doesn't matter if you work in media, you work in politics, you don't. I think everybody's feeling very overwhelmed and scared. What is your, I mean, I'm sure I know your reaction to Charlie Kirk's assassination, but what do you think the political reaction has been so far? Because I've been surprised that there haven't been more Democrats like John Fetterman that are like, this is a horrific tragedy and we need to stand with our Republican brothers and sisters right now. I saw Ilhan Omar and Jasmine Crockett speaking and just saying heinous things. And maybe I should expect that from them, but I was still surprised. What do you think the political landscape looks like now for Democrats? And if you want to share anything personally about his assassination, please do.
Yeah, I mean, that was a horrible week. I was sort of in the middle of my we're getting ready for the announcement of the split with Politico, and I was sort of grateful that I didn't have to write because like just looking online, I think the thing that was like so jarring for me was seeing some people take light of his murder and even applaud it. Like I just it's just like beyond me. Like when, the Democratic leaders in Minnesota, were killed as well, we didn't I don't recall seeing this wave, on the right of people applauding. Everybody was like, this is awful, this should never happen. But increasingly, the scary thing is increasingly there are more Americans who don't take issue with this. And it's absolutely and utterly crazy. I mean, Charlie Kirk, like him or not, was the epitome of exactly how a person should be acting in a democracy, right? Open debate, asking people who disagree to him to come to the front of the line and have a discussion. He was obviously a very brave individual going into the sort of lion's den of liberal thinking, college campuses, and proudly espousing, Christian beliefs and telling people why he believed them. I mean, that it takes a certain type of person to do that. And unfortunately, with, a lot of this violence, I worry what it's going to do to our political discourse, right? Are people going to be afraid to run for office? I mean, there's already a discussion on Capitol Hill about giving more security to lawmakers, but it's terrifying. And I've just never seen anything like this in 15 years. Really unfortunate, Megan.
Yeah, and I wanted to read you I want to show you there's a new poll, like you said, that is talking about that for the first time in 3 decades, attacks by far left extremists are far outpacing far right violence. And according to research from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, I want to show you number one. There's this bumper sticker that's going viral right now, and I haven't seen it in real life, but I've seen this obviously on social media. It says, "Make assassinations great again." That's obviously probably just one crazy person with a crazy bumper sticker. I don't like to, put responsibility for all people on the left to crazy things.
No, of course not.
But uh I have had a few events, and I have one coming up. And I think the worst part, and I'm not comparing myself in any way to Charlie Kirk or anything like that. Again, this is like any person who's doing these things where you're like, are we going to have a great time debating people, or is somebody going to get shot? It's a really horrific time. And again, it's not just, it's everybody. Everybody feels that way. Everyone I know in this space feels this way. And journalists I know feel this way because they cover, political events or whatever. And I think for some reason and I'm just going to do this because it's crazy. But I think post-Trump Butler, I thought things would calm down. I don't know if I was just being naive or sort of Pollyanna-ish, but that was so scary and the visuals were so intense of Trump bleeding. I really did believe that it was a break moment for the country. And I, like you, have been surprised by seeing things like that bumper sticker, seeing raw data that shows left-wing violence is up. Do you think there's a way to, is the genie out of the bottle?
Yeah.
I don't even know I don't know what you do to combat this. And it's severe mental illness and hate and anger. And I don't know.
I don't know. It's how do you combat it? I mean, obviously taking the rhetoric down is really important. And, as I mentioned earlier, this real conversation about, should we be calling people fascists? Should we be, I mean, not to say any of this language should be policed because First Amendment right is paramount, but what are the ramifications of that, right? And it's obviously not just, the way Democrats talk too. I mean, I think about when I expressed, my feelings about, Charlie Kirk's death, I got a bunch of tweets from people blaming me. I mean, as journalists who are writing about this and who, by the way, are very affected by it too, you wouldn't believe the amount of people who were saying that it was our fault and my fault. And I'm like, where are you even getting this? And you killed Charlie Kirk, or you're the reason this is happening. And it's just it's just total vitriol on both sides, to the point of I used to love looking at my Twitter and love, seeing what people are tweeting, get my news a lot of times, of figure out what's breaking in the news. And now I just don't even want to look at it because it's just I guess I don't understand how trying to blame reporters for this, who that is also just as bad. It continues this sort of us versus them mentality, which is the problem here, instead of, okay, let's take a moment and talk about, our rhetoric and that sort of thing. It's just ugly, Megan. It's really ugly. And I don't know what's going to break it. I really don't.
I'm sorry that's happening to you. And I guess it's happening to probably anybody, who is a journalist or working in the media or political space. I think sometimes on the side of conservatives, there's obviously like people who I think are, total hacks and are never going to give Republicans a good shot. But then I think, there's probably 60%, maybe more, who will. And I think the thing that Americans miss sometimes is like the role of the press and politicians is symbiotic. We all need each other. Like politicians need to do interviews and talk to journalists in order to help get their message out and also like maybe clear things up or explain things. And without that, like we're a banana republic. And I just think that that's missed a lot. And I remember when Trump used to like yell at reporters at his rallies and say like they're over there, like whatever. I have a friend who was on the road following him as a journalist, and she was like, "It's so scary to like have like the crowd boo at us and scream at us." And she would never say that publicly because she doesn't want anyone to like think she's a coward. But like I remember hearing that and being like, "Yeah, I bet that is intense." If everyone's like, "Boo, screw you," whatever. So I don't like any of this. I just want to make that clear. It's not like I'm like, "Oh, Republicans are perfect angels. We've never done anything."
No, of course not. Of course not.
But that kind of ties into what happened last week with the Jimmy Kimmel thing. And then President Trump came out, and please forgive me because I'm going to butcher this, but he said something like, I'm going to pull the licenses, or I'm going to get mad at you if you report negative things about me or things that I don't like. Rachel, maybe you know this better than how I'm phrasing it, but and was he joking? Was he being sincere? What was that all about at the end of the last week?
I think the Jimmy Kimmel thing was it was sort of crystallizing, I think, for a lot of Republicans and trying to figure out where is the line here. I think
Elon Musk goes on stage and says, let's legalize comedy again. And not that what Jimmy did was comedic, because it was terribly tone deaf and in bad taste.
100% tone deaf. And I think there was a lot of people who were criticizing Republicans after Charlie Kirk's death for this sort of name and shaming campaign they were doing, like calling out some of these people on Twitter or who were posting things on Facebook, either celebrating his death or mocking it or whatever, showing it to their employers and getting them fired. That is 100% fair game. Yes, you have the right to say whatever you want, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be consequences for it. So trying to get someone fired or taken off TV, with pressure campaign, go for it, whatever. But there's a difference between that and I think, with the Trump administration, clearly they were flirting and even suggesting that they were going to, revoke licenses and stuff like that. That we immediately saw people like Ted Cruz come out and say, basically compare that to, a mob boss, right? You can't do that. And I had interviewed Cruz a few days before for a Politico Live event, and his whole thing was the cure for hate speech is not silencing speech, it is more speech. So you have to explain why this is unacceptable, why this point of view, you pressure and push back on those awful ideas, and even, highlight them and show them to the rest of the world and be like, look, this person's saying this thing. Can you believe it? And that's totally fair game. But obviously
we can't be revoking credentials.
Yes, I was going to say
we
that.
don't like,
exactly,
what we're saying.
And I think and they walked that back pretty fast, by the way. Or
oh, did they? Okay, I missed that part. So thank you for clearing that up.
We'll see, though, because Trump reverts to his gut instinct.
He walks things back and gives them back. Yes, there's a lot of whiplash. Sure.
But Jimmy Kimmel's going to dig his own grave with his ratings. His contract's up next December.
Well, and he was flirting with Italian citizenship. Yeah.
But I'm let them peter out on their own. I want to switch gears a little bit, if you don't mind, Rachel. This is the weirdest tweet and the weirdest thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene put this tweet out saying, "I'm not suicidal and one of the happiest, healthiest people you will meet. I have full faith in God and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. As a sinner, I only save through his grace and mercy. With that said, if something happens to me, I ask you all to find out which foreign government or powerful people would take heinous actions to stop the information from coming out, not only about this issue, but because of the truth that I have been speaking, the people understand what I'm saying." Ted Cruz also came out with a tweet saying, she's obviously trying to say that Israel's going to assassinate her, Jews are going to assassinate her. I retweeted it on my timeline. It happened right before I came in here. One of the things I've also been shocked about in the post-Charlie Kirk assassination is this blamescaping of Israel and the bringing anti-Semitism into this.
Crazy.
And then even with this, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, what is she doing and who is this for other than anti-Semites?
Yeah, I don't like those conspiracy theories. Like, I don't even want to give them, any oxygen because it's like, are you kidding me? It does a disservice, I think, to Kirk's poor wife, Erica. Um,
That's
Look,
true.
I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, like this tweet about I'm not suicidal and if something happens to me, blah, blah, blah. Um, she must be getting just a ton of pressure right now to cave on the Epstein issue. So for those who are not familiar, Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of 4 Republicans, I believe, who have signed on to this, what's called a discharge petition in Congress. It's basically an effort to go around leadership and force a vote to release all the Epstein files. And there is this intense pressure campaign on these Republicans who are joining with all the Democrats to try to force this issue, to try to get them to back off. Like the White House has said, like, I can't remember the phrasing they used, but basically suggested if you're for this, you're against the White House. Marjorie Taylor Greene did not like that and called them and basically was like, I don't work for you. I work for my constituents, et cetera. And I'm not going to back down on this issue. I mean, look, regarding Epstein, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. Did he have like some sort of connections to whatever foreign governments? I don't know. Like the whole thing is like, I'm not the expert to talk to on this, but what this tells me is that she is getting so much pressure and probably a lot of comments, a lot of like probably hate that she felt that she had to say, if somebody hurts me, you guys need to know it's probably about my Epstein support. So I don't know much more about that. Like I haven't really talked to her about it. I'm sure, people will this week in Congress. But again, this just underscores to me that she is a little
Yeah.
bit freaking out about the pushback she's getting on this. So
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And she's also one of those people who's like going to be in Congress forever because her district like loves her so much, despite the fact that, I think she's like unhinged, but that's just my personal politics.
the funny
There's
thing
a
about her, just one more thing, if you don't mind, Megan. The funny thing about her is like she has always been like the queen of MAGA, right? And like so, the leader of all things that are Trumpian, et cetera. And now she's like on different sides that from a lot of like MAGA supporters on things like or the White House in general, things like Epstein, like Gaza too. Like the Gaza is like another thing she's really out there on. It's just we're entering a new chapter of Marjorie Taylor Greene that is very different from the old chapter. Still very vocal and obviously getting a lot of attention, but she's no longer sort of that lockstep. I'm in lockstep with the people you would think she would be with, which is
The
interesting to me.
coalition is shifting.
It
It's
really
very
is.
interesting. And I agree with you that like it'll be interesting how this plays going into 2028 and where loyalties lie because JD Vance is going to be the only person ready for president. And I'm just still curious like where he's gonna land with some of these very tricky, hot issues like Israel and so many other things, but that's for another time. I have to ask you this question. It's more like pop culture, but you can handle it, Rachel. You're a smart lady. So I'm obsessed with this story. It went viral that there's a Riyadh comedy festival in
Yes.
Saudi Arabia. Have you seen this, Rachel?
I've seen it. Yes, I've seen
Okay.
it.
So Saudi Arabia is hosting a Riyadh comedy festival, and it's drawing controversy with many people, including the Human Rights Watch, for participating artists that request a meeting about Saudi Arabia's human rights crisis. First, I want to show you a clip of Mark Maron roasting it because it's hilarious. Number 9, please.
There's a Riyadh Comedy Festival. I don't know if you heard about that. This is true. There's a Riyadh, Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. I mean, how do you even promote that? Like from the folks that brought you 9/11, 2 weeks of laughter in the desert. Don't miss it. I mean, the same guy that's going to pay them is the same guy that paid that guy to bonesaw Jamal Khashoggi and put him in a fucking suitcase. But don't let that stop the yucks. It's going to be a good time. Full disclosure, I was not asked to perform at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, so it's kind of easy for me to take the high road on this one. Easy to maintain your integrity when no one's offering to buy it out,
Okay, so he was not offered it, but Shane Gillis, I love Shane Gillis and he's so funny. He was, and he shared why he ultimately turned it down. Number 10, please.
Should have taken I got to take the Saudi Arabia deal. I should have taken it. I'm washed.
So I do get the fact that they perpetrated 9/11.
I'm not doing it.
That is good. I admire that.
Then they doubled the bag, and I was like,
they doubled the bag, the princes?
It was a significant bag.
What?
But I'd already said no. I took a principled stand.
Yeah, against Saudi Arabia.
It wasn't even that. I didn't even think about it.
I thought we were allies with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we are. We give them a ton of.
So why the hell did they do 9/11 to us?
Wasn't it Osama bin Laden just from Saudi Arabia?
Every single hijacker, basically.
Yeah.
Was Saudi.
Yeah, you don't 9/11 your friends, bro.
Don't 9/11 your friends.
You don't. That's up.
And go over and go, hey guys, you guys want to talk about? I was in 7th grade when you guys did that. It was nuts.
Okay, Rachel, so there's a whole list of very famous people that have agreed to perform in Saudi Arabia, including Dave Chappelle, Whitney Cummings, and Pete Davidson, which people are just roasting him because tragically his dad was a firefighter who died on 9/11.
Yeah.
The comedians are making a point. Saudi Arabia, I guess, is technically an ally. There's a lot of conversations that have been happening in the media about particularly conservative figures on the right who may or may not be funded by Saudi Arabia as well, but specifically Qatar. Are we at a place where it just doesn't matter if you want to perform in Saudi Arabia? Like if someone offered me, I would not. For a whole litany of reasons, I would not be comfortable going. What do you make of this story? And it's getting a lot of attention and anger on social media.
Yeah. Well, let me just first say that I'm pop culture stupid. So, you naming all the comedians who are going to be going or
You know
not
who Dave
going.
Chappelle
I'm like,
is.
I do know that one, but only because I'm from Ohio. And so it's
Okay.
but I mean, look, Hollywood meets, Washington politics or just politics in general here. I mean, this is a tricky issue. And I mean, it's not, you talk about 9/11 and obviously I believe Saudi Arabia, their position on this is that we had nothing to do with it. This was like a rogue group of terrorists who did that. But there are the families of a lot of the people who died that day who are suing Saudi Arabia or trying to sue. I mean, I don't actually know where it is in court, but this is something that has been ongoing legal issue for a really long time and it's still going on. So you have that complication, number one. The other one is Jamal Khashoggi. I mean, there completely is, a realization that he was murdered by, the Saudis. So this is a tough, look, if you do something like this, you're going to get blowback. Your public figures, you should probably, I'm sure they knew that before they decided, but clearly they made the decision that they didn't think it was going to be something that, tarnishes them long term. And I don't know enough about, the whole comedy, comedy crowds and stuff like that to be able to tell you how it will impact their viewership and stuff. But this comes with the territory. If you're going to do something like this, you better be prepared to defend it.
Even 9/11 aside, Saudi Arabia and their human rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, free speech. What are these comedians going to joke about? Because a lot of them are blue, a lot of them are dirty, a lot of them are political. So what are they going to go up there and do knock jokes? I'm very curious to see what their sets are going to be.
Yeah, does our comedy translate? I agree.
Right. And for example, Bill Burr is one of the people that are going, and I have just completely lost all respect for him. Not that he would give any shit about it, but he was one of the most vocal people that were like, Trump should not be taking this plane from Qatar. This is a bribe. This is a whatever. And then he's going to go over there and take, $2 million or whatever they're paying him to go and do some comedy for them. So that's kind of disgusting. And I have a big issue with this, with people like Pete Davidson going over there, going on Theo Vaughn's podcast. We do have the clip if we want to play it, saying, yeah, my dad died in 9/11, but they're paying me a lot of money, so I'm going to go over there.
Does he talk on the podcast about I don't believe Saudi Arabia, the government itself was?
No, they just
Don't
they
get into it.
they talk about it for 5 seconds and completely switch gears into something else.
There's a clear argument he can make on that, which is to reiterate, if maybe he even believes it, maybe
or
he
for
believes
or a
that it was
forgiveness thing
yeah.
or something, but it's not like that at all. It's purely financial motivations.
Interesting. I think your point about how these jokes will be received is a good one. I mean, this is a whole different culture, very different culture than here in the United States. And I don't know who's going to be in the audience, but you can bet there's going to be some sort of jokes about religion and women and what people can and cannot do and potentially poking fun at Saudis. it's going to be awkward. It will be really
Yeah.
interesting to watch the headlines on this and see how it all plays. Yeah.
I went to Dubai like maybe 8 years ago, and I hated it. I was like, it's a very long story how I even ended up going. And, like, my mom was going for like work stuff and was like, they have an extra ticket if you want to come. And I just gone through a bad breakup, and I was like, this country sucks. It is a lie that it was like Vegas but repressed. And then I have another friend it's actually a friend of a friend, and she's a very high powered executive at a high company. I don't want to say what because I don't want to get her in trouble, but she went to Dubai for some kind of conference, and they wouldn't let her work out at the gym. Like, they were like, women aren't allowed in this gym, but we can bring like a, whatever. I don't work out, so I don't know, like one of the bikes up to your room.
Bring a bike up to your room.
Yeah. So, and that's Dubai, which is supposed to be like this like westernized, like Middle Eastern
They have a
countries
Real
that, like,
Housewives franchise. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, what's gonna happen with like Saudi Arabia? You could not. I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm ready. Just there's
you
nothing
could
that
never
can
pay
get
me
my
to go
ass
to
on a
Saudi
plane to
Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
We
Like,
wouldn't be
nothing.
allowed to go. We can't drive ourselves around up there. So
Yeah.
what are they?
Are there
what's-
any
what-
women
What's Whitney
comedians?
Cummings?
Whitney
Whitney
Cummings.
Cummings
Okay.
is going. What's she gonna do out there? Her
It's a
comedy
pretty
is all
anti-woke,
sexual.
like,
Yeah, but
yeah,
so-
I'm like,
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not like they're gonna force you to wear a certain thing. Like, she's an invited guest, so she will be, But yeah, I don't know.
all right, we can move on. So I know you don't
Messy,
care about
messy,
pop
messy.
culture. It's totally fine. You don't need to care about pop culture to know this topic. Bad Bunny was announced at the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. Apple Music announced it during yesterday's halftime of Sunday Night Football. Let's play a clip of the announcement just really quick. Number 12, please.
Se acostó temprano, mañana hay que estudiar. Pero llamó a la amiga diciendo pa' janguear.
Okay, so my issue is, who is Bad Bunny? I know one of
I have a
his
story
songs.
about that, but yeah.
He dated Kendall Jenner. Does that help? Yeah.
I'm so sorry to this man. To quote Kiki Palmer, I'm sorry to this
Sorry
man.
to this man. Yeah.
I'm old. It's fine. I'm 40. But Rachel, the Super Bowl halftime show is supposed to be like people that are like last year was Kendrick Lamar. I also didn't really know much of his music. Like, why can't we have like a Beyonce, Aerosmith, the Eagles, like something that like we can all enjoy their music? And I know Bad Bunny is like really popular with young people. I do not think my in-laws will probably know a Bad
No.
Bunny song. I traditionally watch the Super Bowl with them. Why can't we get a halftime show that's for the nostalgia as well? And I'm sorry to Bad Bunny. I know he's got a lot of mega fans, but I'm like kind of upset about this. I thought we were getting Taylor Swift.
Oh, I would be team Taylor for sure. How fun would that be? It's funny that you said, who is he? Because I said the same thing during the 2024 campaign. I was working on a piece about Hispanic voters in Pennsylvania, which, by the way, were a huge reason why Donald Trump won. And the Democratic operatives were like trying to get knowing they sort of had an issue with Hispanic voters in this area. They're trying to get Bad Bunny, who I guess had some sort of connection to the area and like is super popular, to endorse her. And I think he actually ended up doing that at some point, but this was like before that. And I was like, who the hell is Bad Bunny? I don't know who this is. Now, I told you, I don't do pop culture. I literally it's either my 3-year-old or my work. Like, what does it do? I don't even have time to work
Peppa
out
Pig
anymore.
or the government shutdown.
Yeah, Peppa Pig. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started on Peppa Pig. My daughter's gonna be talking in a British accent because of Peppa Pig. But look, what I was told was that and then I started looking into him more. He does have a massive following, and the fact that I didn't know about him and that you don't know about it, maybe it's dating us more.
I'm old. I'm
vice
saying I'm
versa,
old. Yeah.
Vice versa. But hey, I'd be team Taylor any day. So
the
I know what
rumor
he
was
is
that it
doing.
was going to be Adele. And
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
everybody
Damn
thought it
it.
was going to be leading up
Adele,
to it.
I
And
love Adele.
Who doesn't?
my big conspiracy theory about Bad Bunny getting chosen, aside from he is a big megastar and he does have a ton of hits, but they're all in Spanish. And I think that this is politically motivated after all of the events of the year, because he famously just finished his tour that he refused to play in the United States. He only played it in Puerto Rico. And if you wanted to see him, you had to come to him. He would not play any dates in the US despite his massive audience here because he came out and said, I don't want ICE raiding my shows.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. Finish, Miranda.
Well, I was going to say, so, him, and so there's a lot of discourse online about the hypocrisy of him playing at the Super Bowl because, you won't play any shows, but you'll play the Super Bowl. But people who are going to get raided by ICE aren't typically the people who go to the Super Bowl. It's rich white people who go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's true.
For him to go, I think we're going to get a very politically charged message from Bad Bunny during the show, just like we got last year from Kendrick Lamar when he did his whole deal on the field. So that's what I think we need to keep our eyes out for. And that's my big prediction and my big theory. Go ahead, Rachel.
My question is, who chooses this? Is it the
Jay-Z.
actual teams who choose it?
Jay-Z is like the executive producer of it with like Apple Music and Pepsi, if I'm not mistaken. So he came out with a statement saying, Benito is his real name, Benito Ocasio. He's a dynamic artist with a lot of fans all around the world, and the Super Bowl is a global event, and et cetera. So, but ultimately, I think it is Jay-Z and a team of people and NFL people who choose it. But this is politically motivated.
If it ends up being a super political, and he comes out in like an ICE outfit or something, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm so over political stuff with art. Any person who's like, oh, we were gonna talk about this when we ran out of time, but we'll talk about it. There's some Emma Watson, J.K. Rowling drama that I wanted to get into, but Tom Felton, is that his name? The guy who plays the bad guy in Harry Potter. Yeah, what's his name? What's the character he's playing?
Snape?
Draco Malfoy. Sorry.
Draco. Okay, sure.
But he's always like, I'm not getting political. Like, I love Joe, which is J.K. Rowling's apparent real name and whatever. And I I'm like, I love him. Protect him at all costs, whatever. So I hate political stuff in my art right now if I can handle it. So if that happens, we'll do a whole other episode about it. Total side note before we say goodbye, because I know we're running on time. Rachel, my dad, when he ran for president, which is 5,000 years ago, Daddy Yankee came out and supported him on the road. And if you guys don't know who that is, he's actually an incredible performer.
Isn't he the guy that swings his shirt around? Yes,
yeah, he's great. And he's actually a really lovely person. And I remember at the time being I knew a few of his songs, same thing. And then when he went on the road, I was like, holy shit, people love Daddy. People worship at the altar of Daddy Yankee. My God, people are going crazy for him. So I totally understand why it was important that they try and get Bad Bunny and whatever. And I know that pop culture is important to people that are not me and Rachel. I understand. I just would really love the Eagles to perform.
I would have wanted Adele. Adele would have been fabulous. Maybe next year.
I did not realize that Bad Bunny had put a stake.
No, there's no way Taylor's going to do it. Supposedly she's getting married next summer. She's busy. She's got stuff going on. It's not going to happen.
Gotta pick the dress.
Adele would have been nice.
Rachel, is there anything you want to add before we say goodbye? We always love speaking to you. I'm so excited for your next venture.
Congratulations on your
we'll be following your work,
move.
obviously. Yes. Please come back on.
Thank you.
Anytime.
I really appreciate it.
Don't catch whatever your family has.
I'll try. Sad we didn't get to Emma Watson and J.K. Rowling. That's for another
We can do it really quick.
I have some tea. I have some tea on something else that's going to piss off J.K. Rowling involving.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll do it really quick.
Riva.
I didn't know you were interested in it. I thought you maybe didn't care.
No, we'll do it really that's one of the few things I haven't followed the fight as much as I was that girl who lined up early in the day to get the book when it came out, the Harry Potter book.
Do you have any Harry Potter tattoos?
No.
My sister Bridget has 2.
My sister-in-law has some. So, Potterheads are very hardcore.
My sister-in-law, Florence, has one as well. Yeah. And when my sister and my sister-in-law met, it's one of the things they bonded over.
My sister-in-law has one, so they are.
So for people that don't know what we're talking about, in a recent interview on the show On Purpose with Jay Shetty podcast, Emma Watson, who played
Hermione Granger.
Hermione, thank you so much, said she would be open to talking to J.K. Rowling again amid their continued rift over Rowling's comments, and Rowling has been a huge advocate, for getting biological men out of women's sports. Excuse me. They have very conflicting views on the trans community.
Yeah, labeled transphobic. So
number 7, please. Thank you.
Ever cancel her out or cancel that out? for anything. It has to remain true. It is true. And this is where this like holding of these, I just don't know what else to do other than hold these two seemingly incompatible things together at the same time and just hope maybe they will one day resolve or like co-join themselves, and maybe accept that they never will, but that they can both still be true. And I can love her. I can know she loved me. I can be grateful to her. I can know the things that she said are true. And there can be this whole other thing. And my job feels like to just hold all of it. But the bigger thing is just what she's done will never be taken away from me.
Gosh, just making it about her.
Yes. So really quickly, J.K. Rowling tweeted, adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination and then assert their right to the former friend's love as though the friend was in fact their mother. Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public, but I have the same right, and I finally decided to exercise it. I just want to play one quick little clip from the BAFTAs a few years ago where Emma Watson took a very public and I think very catty dig at J.K. Rowling. Number 8, please.
I'm here for all of the witches.
Okay, so that was a longer clip in context that she was saying, like, I'm here for trans witches as well. It's obviously a very mean dig at J.K. Rowling. Anyone that wants a deep dive on this, there's a great podcast called, like, The Witch Hunting of J.K. Rowling that was done through the Free Press. It is a very deep dive on this. I think J.K. Rowling has a whole, I think it's fine, other than I agree with her, I think it's fine for J.K. Rowling to be like, no, peace. You've hurt me for a long time. You made it very clear. And I think the fact that the trend lines on this issue that J.K. Rowling has been an advocate for are moving so much in the direction of J.K. Rowling is not missed on me why Emma also seems to be moving in that direction as well. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It seems disingenuous. I mean, she and other members, some members of the cast from Harry Potter, they very much like doubled down on going after J.K. Rowling when she was expressing being uncomfortable or being against certain things like, you know, transgender people being in women's sports, etc. And Rowling, I mean, I haven't listened to that series, but I've heard a lot about it. Like, from my understanding, death threats, threats of rape, like literally like had to, you know, try to like protect her family from this blowback. And instead of standing up for, you know, this person who has sort of made them famous, right? The books that would become like the springboard for their careers. And you could even say you disagree with them, but actually like do something to try to help and tamp down the harassment. Like they just sort of poured fuel on the fire. And now, like you said, like there has been a cultural shift. We certainly have seen it here in the United States where people are more comfortable saying, actually, I don't agree with a lot of this stuff and I'm concerned about it. And that's why you're probably seeing people like Emma Watson come out and try to play cleanup here and saying, oh, I actually really love her. I disagree with her. I'm so conflicted. Well, number one, this isn't about you. But number two, like if you really were, as J.K. Rowling was saying, like you should have been on my side, like from the beginning, at least, like trying to help protect me from the mob. So
sounds to me like Emma's had some perspective shifting. She's been in some trouble lately in
With
the UK.
what?
She had her driver's license taken away for reckless driving, and you know, when people are low, they tend to in some cases internalize, get some introspection going. And I think maybe she's realizing that, oh, when I'm not winning awards and everyone's not cheering and clapping for me, I don't get to be the bitch who's on her high horse. And so maybe she is reaching out to JK saying, sorry for being an asshole, because now I get what it's like to be kicked when I'm down and talked about negatively on the internet, and I don't get to be high and mighty. So that's my hope is, you know, and you know me, I want to give someone the benefit of the doubt. I don't know Emma. I don't care about Harry Potter. Sorry, Rachel. Or J.K. Rowling.
Ashley's a super Harry Potter.
I know.
So we got
Sorry,
it covered.
Ashley. But that's what it sounds like to me, is that this is someone who's maybe realizing she made a mistake and was just jumping on the, yeah, you suck bandwagon. And now that she's getting a taste of that, maybe hopefully she is learning how to be humble.
I think she should have apologized and said, like, look, I am in woke Hollywood, and with my age and wisdom comes change of perspective. I regret how I behaved. I would not be a millionaire without J.K. Rowling. Like, I think she could have really fallen on the sword, and I think J.K. Rowling would have probably responded in kind. I think part of the problem is she's like holding her hands up and saying this like very word salad, like it was like only following like, I don't know, 70% of what she was saying and like trying to say. And I think J.K. Rowling, again, that's a really good podcast to explain it. Like, she has had very serious death threats, like very serious, like social clout taken away from her finances, like everything. And whatever you feel about her politics, she's one of the great geniuses of a generation, easily. Like, there's not a child of that era that doesn't, again, my sister has 2 Harry Potter tattoos. My sister's in her 30s. Like, and I love her. I love you, Bridget. Thank you for always watching the podcast. But like, it's really important. And I just think that like, for me, there are people in my life, like a great example is the comedian Michael Ian Black. No way you know who that is, Rachel. It's fine. But I've known him since I was 26, and we wrote a book together. He is the most liberal person I know. He hates Trump more than anyone I know and is extremely woke. And I love him dearly. And if you ask me about his work, I say sometimes we disagree on a lot of politics. It's the nature of our relationship. We've always been able to table it because we get along so well and we like each other so much, and he's such a good friend and I'm such a good friend to him. It's not that hard, Emma. We can disagree and still be friends. And I think that's why I felt like it was like sort of chicken shit as well. And she also talks about in that podcast how she can't get work. And I was like, well, maybe because you like suck.
Can't get work. Huh.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
she's going to
working.
college. So what does she want?
She's 36. Like,
is she?
Land the plane. Yes.
I'm surprised she hasn't made enough money to just retire. Like, I would just be like, check Harry Potter.
Let someone
done.
else have a chance. Goodness.
Totally.
Gosh.
Anyway, Rachel, thank you for doing that last topic. I just thought it was interesting.
Love it.
It's all over Twitter.
Yeah.
Rachel, thank you so much. You can follow Rachel on X at Rachael M. Bade. Come back anytime. You're really one of our favorites. We love talking to you. And it's been wonderful seeing you. And please come back when you're allowed to announce whatever you're announcing.
Someday. It will happen. I'll be back, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Happy to be on.
Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. All right, Miranda, we're going to say goodbye now. Is there anything else you want to add before we say goodbye to everybody?
For anybody who may have missed the top of the show, Meghan will be in Boston, and the event is oversold. So the Kennedy
Institute. Yes, we apologize again. The event is oversold. Oh, and I need a reminder. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. If you would like me to ask Vice President Pence a question, you can go to citizenmccain@twoway.tv to email. I'll say that again to make it clear. Email citizenmccain@twoway.tv. Your question for Mike Pence, and I will be asking two-way audience questions. So again, we will have a show Wednesday. It will just be a live event from another location because I'm so fancy now.
I will be on the live stream because I couldn't get into this event because I am not cool or special enough.
You can
but
come in my hotel room and hang out.
I'll just hide in your suitcase. But yes, I'll be on the live stream with you guys to watch it and play along. And we will be posting that email address on our social media. So in case you missed it or you're driving or you're watching, then whatever, you'll get a chance to see it. And also follow us and share, like, and subscribe because we still need some help and love.
Yes.
And be nice in the comments. Stop being jerks. So we love you.
Thank you. And be nice in our socials. Some people are so mean on our socials.
Be nice
and the DMs, you guys. Again.
They're still being monitored. Yes.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.